walking tall. I do love my mom and pa, not the way that I do love you. Well, holy moly, me oh my, you're the apple of my eye. Boy, I've never loved one like you. Oh man, you're my best friend. Scream it to the nothingness. There ain't nothing that I need. Well, hot and heavy pumpkin pie, chocolate candy tastes so nice. There ain't nothing please me more than you. Oh, home, let me come home. Home is wherever I'm with you. Oh, home, let me come home. Home is wherever I'm with you. Cheers! Jumping up and down the floor. My head is an animal, and once it was an animal. It had a son who mowed the lawn. The son was an okay guy. He had a pet dragonfly. The dragonfly, he ran away, but he came back with a story to say. Oh, home, let me come home. Home is wherever I'm with you. Oh, home, let me come home. Home is wherever I'm with you.
Just like check him out, make sure he's good.
Miss Stamen, I had to say it one last time. I cannot believe our day has come that we have been so anxiously looking forward to. Personally, this is the best day of my life. Okay, I'm getting married to you. You are my best friend, the girl of my dreams, the best thing that ever happened to me, and the one thing day in and day out I will always look forward to having in my life. The past 3 years have been my happiest, and what our marriage means is that the next 60 plus years will follow in this way because my love for you will only get stronger, and I'm so happy to continue forward with you by my side. I cannot put into words what love I have for you and how each time I look at you I feel like nothing can be better in life. But I promise you that the next time I see you in your wedding dress, you will be able to see the love and happiness we share. I'm so excited for today, and I finally get to marry you. Love, Rob.
Open my eyes, and there you are, out in the distance, sun and the stars, and I feel the way it's gonna be. Reach out and let your heart go free. This is you and me. I've been waiting for a love like you. I've been waiting for a love like you. I've been waiting for a love like you tonight. I was a little bit broke. I was a little bit broke. I was a little bit broke. I was broke and then you came my way. it to stay. I've been waiting for a love like you. I've been waiting for a love like you. So let me catch fire and blow off steam. Is this a crash landing? We're living a dream. And let me ask a question, raise to the sky. Standing at the crossroads, look into my eyes. And anybody out there can plainly see, oh, you're never gonna know what you do to me. Yes, you do.
Right there. As tight as you can. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we know that Rob and Yael are here today to get married and that they're perfect for each other. But how did we end up here today? How did these two wonderful people somehow end up not only meeting, but falling in love and choosing to spend the rest of their lives together? Well, I'd like to spend the next few minutes, even though some in the room have signs that say, "Hurry up, I want cake," just glaring at us there. I'd like to spend a few minutes telling us the true story, one of the true versions of how Yael and Rob got here today. So their love story begins rather unofficially in the halls of high school, where a young Yael and Rob vaguely become aware that each other exists. I asked Yael what her first impression was of the man who will be her husband moments from now, and her answer, "I didn't have much of an impression of him at all." Which is okay, we were all a bit weird in high school. But despite that tepid beginning, you get the sense that fate wasn't about to give up on these two, because almost a decade and a half later, Rob is a guest at this wedding and strikes up a conversation there with a friend, Lindsay, who mentions that she's currently skipping her old friend Yael's birthday to be at this wedding where she's bumped into Rob. And Yael is a name that Rob hasn't heard in years, but he immediately remembers that gorgeous girl he glimpsed in high school. Lindsay goes on to say she thinks Yael and Rob would be the perfect match for each other, and Rob leaves the evening hoping Lindsay will get to work on setting them up. The very next day, Rob is killing some time on Tinder, like you do, when who should appear on the screen but Yael? And of course, he swipes right. For those of you who've never used Tinder, right is good. Rob's profile comes out on Yael's screen and she thinks, "I remember him from high school, he's cute." And so she swipes right. Rob's made an impression this time, things are looking up. And by the end of that very day, Yael and Rob are texting back and forth, and soon they agree to meeting up for a drink in their neighborhood at the Keg a week and a half later. And so on October 2nd, 2014, Rob is waiting in the lobby area of the bar, one eye on the door, and in she walks at 8, just as they'd agreed. Yael looks just as beautiful as she did in his memory and just as gorgeous as Lindsay described 2 weeks before. Yael's eyes sweep the room and she sees Rob, and the feeling she gets is unmistakable. Relief that he's as cute as his pictures let on. So they move into the bar and they order a drink. It's going well, the conversation flows. There's some debate as to whether Yael did most of the talking or all of the talking. They finish their first drinks, but neither of them wants to be presumptuous enough to assume that the other is having a good enough time to order a second drink. So when the bartender asks Rob whether he'd like another, he politely declines. When the bartender asks Yael if she'd like another, she politely declines because Rob has declined, and Rob declines again because Yael declines, and they talk, and 3 hours later, after one drink and many, many waters, Yael and Rob are shocked at the time and reluctantly agree to call it a night. They're both sure they've had a great time. They do both wonder why the other never ordered a second drink. And as they head out on the street and say goodbye, Rob leans in and hugs Yael and kisses her forehead. And Yael goes from thinking Rob is cute to thinking that Rob is super cute and comforting. And she leaves thinking, I have a crush and I'm in trouble. And Rob walks away in awe at how Yael inspires confidence, speaks so very well, even talks about sports. In fact, she talks a lot, but she's, quote, so easy to stare at while she does all that talking. He doesn't mind a bit. And so just over 2 years later, it's a typical decadent Saturday morning in the Yael and Rob household. They've been together a couple years. They have a place together. They're lounging in bed with the TV, the coffee and the tea and the phones and the books. And the expectation is that like every other Saturday, this will continue until about lunchtime. But Rob is unusually antsy this morning. See, 2 days ago on the Thursday, he'd finally gotten the news that the ring he'd spent 5 weeks custom ordering and designing was finally ready for pickup. And so the Friday was the day he called to ask the parents. So Mom Penny was the first one to get the call. She's at work, the phone rings, and she answers, and it's Rob. This alone comes as quite a shock. Penny can't ever recall Rob calling before. And the worry sets in immediately. Is everyone all right? And then Rob says, Penny, you might want to close your office door and sit down. Penny does, feeling suddenly sick and expecting the worst of news, and then Rob starts telling her how deeply in love he is with Yael, and Rob doesn't remember asking any question at all before Penny blurts out, yes, yes, and how thrilled she is at the news. And then she starts to panic a bit at the realization that at any moment Yael could walk into the office and Penny would have to come up with some innocuous excuse for the tears and the shaking and the huge smile on her face. So Rob says goodbye, leaving Penny to compose herself, and with that call done, she moves on to Dad. When Scott picks up, Rob hears that he's driving on the highway, and like Penny, Scott immediately wonders if everything's all right. Apparently Rob doesn't call Scott very much either. Rob wonders if he should proceed with his intended question or just call back another time. But Scott's so confused as to why Rob is calling that Rob figures it's best to plunge ahead rather than make up an excuse. So Rob tells Scott how much he loves Yael, and he asks if he might marry her. And as it turns out, Scott stays on the road and says, of course, and he has his full blessing, and he's thrilled for both of them. So on this Saturday morning, Rob is practically bursting with anticipation, and with Yael lounging in bed with her tea and her book and the remote, no matter how much he might want to wait for a more opportune time, he can take it no longer. And so shortly after 9, to Yael's surprise, he gets up out of the bed and leaves the room. That never happens. Retrieving the ring from his hiding place, he comes back in with his hands behind his back and asks Yael to please stand up. And somewhat bewildered, she does, and then Rob gets down on one knee and presents the ring box and asks her to be his wife. Yael's eyes are so full of tears that all she sees is a glaring beam of light shining out of Rob's hand. She assumes the ring must be gorgeous. And after what feels like an eternity for Rob of Yael staring and shaking and crying, she finally says yes. And eventually, she starts to make out a ring through the fog. Rob puts it on her finger. And after 2 days of him wonderfully surprising people, it would be Rob's turn for the biggest surprise of all. That after you propose, you spend 6 hours on the phone calling everyone you know. But with all that done by dinner time, they celebrate all weekend. And here we are today. Can we give it up for these two beautiful people? It's for the beautiful moments in this story and many, many others that we don't even have time to talk about today that Rob can say of Yael. Yael's a person that instantly makes people love her. She'd do anything for me, and knowing that makes me love how caring and thoughtful she is. She's a loyal friend who's very supportive to all her friends and family. She's stunning to look at. I love that she loves to watch sports more than me, and that whatever she puts her head to doing, she does. And knowing this shows me that as a life partner, she'll never give up. Yael gives amazing head scratches. Her homemade chicken nuggets are my absolute favorite. And hopefully, when we're married, she'll get back to making them as much as she did when we were dating. We've made such a happy and amazing life together already. I can't imagine doing many things without the other. And I know that in marriage, our bond will only strengthen. It's time because we never want to be apart for a single night or day, and we want to start our family. I've met my Basherte, is that my saying that?
Basherte.
I'm making it too exotic. Basherte. Yael is not only the perfect match for me, but we also complement one another in our differences, and she makes me a better person every day. It's why Yael can say of Rob, if I were to have made a list of everything I wanted in a guy, it wouldn't have included all the amazing things that exist in Rob. I honestly didn't think a man with his combinations of qualities existed. I love how kind and sweet he is. I love how everyone who meets him loves him. I love how he's helpful and clean, a real partner. I've always loved the idea of marriage. It's the strongest form of commitment between two people in love. We both want to start a family, and so now is the time to get married and begin the rest of our lives together. I love how Rob makes me feel like the most important person and the most desired and beautiful woman in the world. I love how he's strong and confident, yet calm and quiet. Rob is my rock and beyond my wildest dreams. Now, Yael and Rob are in love, and two people who are in love are expected to gush about each other, especially on their wedding day. It's the opinions of friends and family that are a little bit more rooted in reality, a little bit more objective. So I decided to do a little homework and ask a few of you here today among us what we have to say about this couple who we love so very much. And here's what we had to say. Rob and Yael make each other better people. They're fun and easygoing and have so many similar interests. Rob brings out a calm, secure side of Yael. He makes her feel loved, appreciated, and like the queen that she is. And Yael does the same for Rob. She makes him feel special and lucky and confident in who he is. She slows down when she's with him and allows his thoughtful manner to keep them on an even keel. She challenges him and he never disappoints. They understand each other so well. Their similar interests make them so compatible, and they can spend hours with one another not doing much, but so happy to be in each other's company. On the other hand, they can socialize with each other's friends and have a great time being with the ones who are most important to them. We love them both to bits and couldn't be happier for them today. Friends, the most important thing about today is what happens in the moments to follow. Today is like no other in the story of Yael and Rob because they've invited us here to observe and to witness and to celebrate what this love story has inspired, and that is promise. That's the profoundness of commitment, how Yael and Rob want to stand here and say to each other, I will be the person who is always here for you. And what we've enjoyed for these past many years, we will tend and cultivate for as many years as we have left on this earth. And so Yael and Rob, today you are here to say, in this public setting, to us and to each other, that the bond that started to take root that night at the keg and that you've been tending to for several years, that bond you will commit to strengthening wherever life takes you from this day forward. And so I'm going to ask you a question, and you may reply with, we do. Having said all that, Yael and Rob, do you stand here today to give yourselves to each other in marriage?
We do.
Wonderful. They do. Yael and Rob have asked that Yael's stepmother, Cindy, come and share a reading with us. And so, Cindy, I invite you to come forward and do so now.
Okay. You have known each other from the first glance of acquaintance to this point of commitment. At some point, you decided to marry. I'm going to cry. From that moment of yes to this moment of yes, indeed, you have been making promises and agreements, I'm sorry, in an informal way, like all those conversations that were held riding in a car, or over a meal, or during long walks, all those sentences that began with, when we're married, and continued with, I will, and you will, and we will, those late-night talks that included someday, and somehow, and maybe, all those promises that are unspoken matters of the heart. All these common things and more are the real process of a wedding. The symbolic vows we're about to make are a way of saying to one another, the symbolic vows we're about to make are the real process of a wedding. Sorry.
No, you're doing great.
Okay. All these common things and more are the real process of a wedding. The symbolic vows we're about to make are a way of saying to one another, you know, all those things we promised and hoped and dreamed. Well, I meant it, every word. Look at one another and remember this moment in time. Before this moment, you have been many things to one another. Acquaintance, friend, companion, lover, dancing partner, and even teacher. For you have learned much from one another in these last few years. Now you should say a few words that take you across the threshold of life, and things will never quite be the same between you. For after these words, you shall say to the world, this is my husband, this is my beautiful wife.
Well, this is indeed the heart of the ceremony, the part of the day when Yael and Rob break new ground into their relationship by making those promises together to each other that we traditionally call vows. And so, Yael, I will ask you to say yours first.
Rob, I promise you perfect love and perfect trust. I believe in you, and I therefore vow to stand by you, support you, and forever be your biggest cheerleader. I promise to always cook for you, even though you season your food before you try it. I will always be honest with you, kind, patient, and forgiving. I promise to let you lie on my stomach as we watch TV in bed, even though sometimes you crush me just a little bit. I promise to cheer for Chelsea, even though I could care less about soccer. I promise that you will be as important to me as poutine, peanut butter, and all the episodes of Friends put together. I vow to always hold your hand as we walk down the street, have cuddle sessions 1, 2, and 3 in the early hours before work, and to kiss you every night before we go to sleep. Finally, I vow that you have my heart today, and that I will always be yours.
Yeah, you are the most amazing person that I have ever met, and the one person in this world I want to spend the rest of my life with. I promise you today to be your best friend and to support you in any way I possibly can. I vow to always be there to catch you should you stumble and be your rock when life presents great challenges. I promise to respect, admire, and fully listen to you and support you even when we are not seen eye to eye on some of life's tests. I promise to celebrate, laugh, and make the best memories with you in times of happiness. I will always be by your side as we grow old, wrinkly, and potentially bald. I vow to always make her coffee and tea every weekend morning. These are good. I promise to always be there so you can give head and back scratches whenever you so desire. I'm just there. And the most important, I vow to love you unconditionally and forever. And to show you every day that I know how lucky I am to have you in my life and how much I continue to love you more each day.
That's great. That was easy. Rob, please repeat after me. Yael, I give you this ring as a reminder
Yael, I give you this ring as a reminder
that I will love, honor, and cherish you
that I will love, honor, and cherish you
at all times
at all times
and in all ways. Please wear it as a sign
Please wear it as a sign
of my commitment to you. Thank you. Well done. Rob, I give you this ring as a reminder
Rob, I give you this ring as a reminder
that I will love, honor, and cherish you
that I will love, honor, and cherish you
at all times
at all times
and in all ways.
and in all ways.
Please wear it as a sign
Please wear it as a sign
of my commitment to you.
of my commitment to you.
Well, Rob and Yael would now like to observe the ancient Jewish tradition of the breaking of the glass. We're going to need your help a little bit on this one. So, Rob, are we ready? We'll count to 3 together, shall we? And see, it's man versus glass. Let's see how this goes. In the first try. Shall we? 1, 2, 3, and Mazel Tov! It's a good sign. All right, we're going to go sign some papers right now, make it real official. We'll be right back in a few minutes. In the meantime, enjoy yourselves. We will be right back. So, Yael, I'll ask you to sign right there, 42, where the X is. Right? You got that? That's the only signature you need to do, so you can relax. Rob, just one from you there, 43. need a couple from each of the witnesses. Can you reach from there? From the ladies first. Okay. Oh, sorry. So I'll need yours. How about for you? 44 right there. And one more. There. There you go. Thank you. 45 at the X. Wonderful. One more. Right there. Wonderful. All right. This is what does it. You ready? Ready to be married? Sign. Shut up. There you go. All right, everybody. It's totally legit. They signed the papers. They're really married. And so, with nothing left to say, by the authority given me by the province of Ontario in the presence of your closest friends and family, it is my privilege to pronounce you husband and wife. Rob, you may kiss your bride. See why she didn't want the flowers. Hey, all right. Yeah, we can grab these flowers.
We're going to get ready for the horror! Nagira ben smecha hava nagira ben smecha hava na 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 hava ben smecha hava ben smecha Pura himmel samer, 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 yeah. Nagira ben smecha hava nagira ben smecha hava na ben smecha hava na ben smecha Pura himmel samer, pura himmel samer, pura himmel samer, pura himmel samer, pura himmel, yeah. muzzle tov, muzzle tov, simmer tov, muzzle tov, muzzle tov, simmer tov, muzzle tov, simmer tov, Yaelanu. Simmer tov, muzzle tov, simmer tov, muzzle tov, simmer tov, muzzle tov, simmer tov, Yaelanu. Yaelanu, Yaelanu, Ulechol Israel. Yaelanu, Yaelanu, Ulechol Israel. Yaelanu, Yaelanu, Ulechol Israel. Yaelanu, Yaelanu, Ulechol Israel. Simmer tov, muzzle tov, simmer tov, muzzle tov, simmer tov, muzzle tov, simmer tov, Yaelanu. Simmer tov, muzzle tov, simmer tov, muzzle tov, simmer tov, muzzle tov, simmer tov.
How good was that ceremony earlier? They really should have asked that guy to be the MC tonight. What do you think, Ian?
Absolutely, Sean. I'd say one thing, though. Don't... Whoa! Hot mic. Sorry. Absolutely. We were going to comment on the ceremony, but the horror was unbelievable. So, I mean, forget that. But, I mean, I do have to comment on that kiss. What a phenomenal kiss. Didn't everybody love that? Wow. Thought it was a family wedding, but okay. I mean, that's fine. Can everyone hear us? Fine, that's what we just want to double check. In the back, can you hear us? Great, perfect. And I mean, my favorite part of every wedding, how about the bridesmaids? Weren't they gorgeous tonight, everybody? Come on, let's hear it. Let's hear it. And the groomsmen, thanks for coming out, guys. Appreciate it.
On behalf of the bride and groom, we want to sincerely welcome everyone here tonight to celebrate Rob and Yael's special day. I'm Sean Wetmore, and he's Ian Hodgins. And we're extremely happy to be your co-MCs tonight. For the record, I thought the groomsmen looked pretty good.
So we want to start off by, properly introducing myself. A lot of people do know who we are, but some people don't. So I want to explain why I'm here tonight. And to do so, I have to go a long, long way back. The year was 1999. I was in science class at Northern when I first met Yael. We immediately hit it off. We laughed, we cried, talked about boys, braided each other's hair. Oh. And I knew then, 15 years ago, that I would be the MC at her wedding.
Ian, I don't think that's really the reason you're here today. In fact, it sounds completely made up.
Well, I mean, yeah, okay. Well, I guess perhaps the fact that I've known Rob for 29 years. Yes, we went to every single school, from nursery to university. We lived together for 4 years at Western. We also traveled the world together. So I mean, that's a little bit of a contributor, Sean. But you weren't in that science class with Yael, and it was magic. It was magic, Sean.
I guess that qualifies you. Maybe to introduce myself a bit further, Yael clearly chose me for my natural charm and charisma, public speaking prowess, and comfort in front of a microphone.
Sean, now that we're fact-checking one another, and this has nothing to do with the hora, which was physically exerting, I can see that you're sweating through your shirt right now. And this gag really works because you are really sweating through your shirt right now.
I do tend to run quite hot. I guess in my case, I'm one of Rob's newer friends. I met him in grade 4 and have known him for 23 years. I think the truth of the matter is I was the last one standing after all the groomsmen invites went out.
What? That's sad, Sean. One thing we can definitely agree on, Sean and I are here tonight because, well, Yael gave us the seal of approval. Let's be honest, we know who calls the shots in this relationship. And we hope she won't live to regret it. Anyways, as we heard tonight during the ceremony, Rob and Yael originally met in high school, but they reconnected many years later using an internet social media tool known as Grindr.
Ian, it's actually Tinder. Tinder.
Huh. Funny I screwed that up having just heard that in the ceremony 20 minutes ago. Apologies. Anywho, it's not so astonishing that our lovebirds reconnected. As everyone in the room can attest, they're perfect for each other. You can agree to that. Woo! The real surprise here is given Rob's rather checkered track record for picking females, he had the wherewithal to find someone of Yael's exceptional quality. Now, we don't want to delve too deeply into Rob's past, but many of his previous relationships, one in particular, closely resembled the VH1 documentary starring Kurt Cobain and Courtney Love.
Hold on a minute here, Ian. I'm sure Yaya's had some romantic missteps over the years. Who could forget Camp Guy? Or that short but sweet tryst with pre-CrossFit Tim Butters?
One dinner. It was just one dinner.
Also that brief stint on reality TV dating show. Doesn't matter. What's absolutely true is that Yael is stunningly beautiful, talented, smart, extremely organized, as can be evidenced by the to-the-minute itinerary we were given tonight. But it's not like Rob is completely batting out of his league here. I remember things a little bit differently than we heard in the ceremony earlier. In truth, I think Yael's had her eyes on Rob ever since the Northern days.
Very true, Sean. Thank you for bringing that up. As you may know, it's a minor point of contention between Rob and Yael about who was cooler in high school at Northern. Now, okay, Yael clearly had the looks, no debate there. And she also had that exotic mystique. Now, keep in mind, in Rob's waspy eyes, she had an exotic mystique. We're talking about the Granite Club bowling champion who rarely left the confines of Lawrence Park. And here she was, a beautiful Jewish girl from Forest Hill. Oh my, that is exotic. But Rob, on the other hand, hold on. Rob was a main doors guy at Northern. This is a crucially important Northern secondary status symbol. Rob drove the Chrysler LeBaron. Not a Chrysler LeBaron, the Chrysler LeBaron. He picked up an early smoking habit in the 90s. It was cool. And this is the real kicker. Rob had a much cooler group of friends. No offense to Lindsay Stewart, but Rob was buddies with all the coolest guys. He attended all the sickest parties. We dated the hottest chick. I was captain of all the...
Ian, pump the brakes here. I think you're misremembering a tad. You were on the golf team, and I was in the gifted program. I'm pretty sure we were all hanging out in your basement, playing GoldenEye, and dreaming about getting to third base one day. Jokes aside, and that was a good joke, I guess. Jokes aside. Though we haven't known Yael for as long, over the course of the last few years and all the couples dinners, cottage weekends, friends' birthdays, and Blythewood Christmas parties, we have grown incredibly close. and we've actually come to prefer her over our old pal Boomer. And yes, we can finally settle the score. She is, in fact, cooler.
Yeah. Thank goodness we've settled that debate. Now for the most exciting part of the night, the housekeeping notes. Sean, I'm going to pass it over to you.
Something I pay close attention to, the washrooms. Am I right, Grey Boy? The ladies is on the main floor to the right of the podium, and there's a second one down in the basement. The guys, we got the shaft, only one bathroom down in the basement. Make sure you give yourself plenty of time to avoid any accidents.
I feel well informed. Thank you, Sean. And as an avid social media buff, I got to do the next one, which is the hashtag. So the hashtag for tonight, as you could see, is over there as well, is hashtag bunting scored. That's the pound key on your phone. Capital B, capital S, bunting scored. You attach it to all of your online correspondences, and you make for a hell of a night. And speaking of new cellular apps, if anyone is interested in splitting an Uber later, I'd be happy to tag along.
Of course you would, Ian. Thanks to the generosity of the bride and groom, the bar is going to remain open during dinner. Yeah. We would ask that you have a bit of class, though, and don't get up during the speeches, Murray.
Now that we're on the topic of speeches, to our speakers. My mother gave me some excellent advice as a child. She sat me down, looked me in the eye. She told me, son, a wedding speech is a lot like a woman's skirt, long enough to cover the important parts, but short enough to keep us interested.
Ooh. On that note, I'm pretty sure your mom never told you to say that. Without further ado, let's get right into the first speech of the evening. Here are two guys we have nothing but good things to say about, and the utmost respect and admiration for.
Deep admiration, deep respect. The first best man, I'm not a betting man, but I suspect he may have been deliberately scheduled early in the evening to avoid what has commonly been referred to as caveman syndrome. For those of you who don't know, symptoms may include dizziness, trouble speaking, coherency, and moderate to severe aggression. When not drunk, however, our first best man is a handsome school teacher with a heart of gold. If looking to meet him later, he will likely be found playing shirtless beer pong with Mark Weiss.
Likely Rob's second choice for the role, affectionately known to his friends as Blimpson. When not swindling his clients out of their finances, our other best man enjoys driving around in his Mini, cuddling his dog Layla, and diligently brushing his gums. Recently, his lovely girlfriend Rachel bought him a cottage on Diamond Lake. Take a hint, sir.
Please welcome to the microphone, Boomer's best men, Mr. Dave Stratton and Mr. Scott Simpson.
Friends are a wonderful thing. So thank you, firstly, to the MCs for that wonderful introduction. It's not an easy job. As we all know, they're extremely nervous tonight. So, you know what, let's please first give them a heavy round of applause to the two guys that almost made it into the wedding party.
If you see them later tonight, if you see Ian later tonight on the dance floor, know he's not having a seizure. And if you see Sean later tonight sitting in his chair drooling, yes, he is just drunk.
And we're under very strict instructions from the bride and groom to keep this speech under 5 minutes.
So with that said, we are extremely honored to be Rob's co-best men tonight. So let's have one quick round of applause for the new bride and groom. Okay. We only have 5 minutes. Only 5 minutes. So please keep the clapping and laughter to a minimum if possible.
So my name is Scott, and I've been friends with Rob since high school. He was actually one of my very first friends at high school that I'm still friends with today. And in fact, I remember one of the very first times that we hung out. We went over to Rob's house on Ridgefield to play video games. I'd been sitting on the couch for no more than a minute or so when this giant Airedale Terrier came crashing into the room, jumped up beside me, peed all over the seat next to me, and ran out. Rob looked at me, and in his dry, matter-of-fact delivery, he said, "That's Mac." But Rob has always been the social coordinator of our group, and he has this way of making everyone feel included. So much so that we ended up going to university together and eventually lived together after a decision that was no doubt around the water cooler. Our house was called the Wolf House, and it was comprised of Rob, myself, and 4 washed-up athletes and/or rappers. And they're all here with us this evening.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Dave, and here's where I came into Rob's life, at Western. It wasn't until second year, when I was living in what was known as the Colburn House, and Rob and Scott were in the Wolf House, that we all became super close. The Colburn House was comprised of some really short guys who would drink some of London's cheapest beers. The two houses all got along so well because we shared the desire to play sports, party, and ruthlessly chirp each other. It was during these years that I really got to know some of Rob's best qualities. His generosity, his loyalty, his sort of quietness. For any of you that know Rob, if you're having a conversation with him where it might seem like you're not really in a conversation with him and he just sits there making you wonder if he's listening or even likes you for that matter. In the end, you kind of just realize that he's just taking the time to focus on what it is that you're saying, consider it, and give you some honest, genuine feedback, something that's pretty rare these days. But sadly, our time at Western was going to be cut short as the Wolf Street House boys were finishing up their final year, and of course, they'd graduate and move on with their lives.
Actually, it's not exactly how it went, because Rob and I knew that your experience might deteriorate without us. So we bit the bullet, and we tacked on an extra year to our university career. We left those other has-been roommates behind, and we moved into a 2-bedroom apartment and signed a lease for the full year, although Rob only had 1 semester left. But Rob's loyal. That's the kind of guy that he is. He was fully willing to stay in London and split rent for a whole extra semester, even though he didn't have a job or a single class to attend. This may have been when he started to hone his laundering and culinary skills. One day I came home from a grueling, full 2-hour day of class, and Rob had not only done my laundry, but he'd been cooking French onion soup all day. There must have been 4 giant pots of it, and our apartment smelled like onions for a week. So naturally, through all of those years, living together at university, I think I was Rob's best roommate ever.
That may have been true until Rob's younger best man became his best roommate ever. It was back in Toronto after university. Rob had essentially forced out my current roommate at the time, Mark Weiss. A bit of a touchy subject even today. We try not to bring it up very often or publicly. It only took me a few hours to forget that Mark had ever been there, and before long, Rob and I had become tighter and tighter. From going to the gym or playing squash to playing euchre or cribbage together, I really cherished everything that Rob and I did together. My favorite part of living with Rob was, well, other than the excessive, constant, almost overbearing cleaning that he would do, was the nights that we would stay in and cook together. It was a great bonding time. We'd put on a playlist and, cook some really fun, healthy meals together. And it's something that I really cherished and enjoyed, and that's something I'll always remember with Rob. So everything seemed to be going perfectly with Rob and I in our relationship until one dreadful night when, through some social app that connects people, Tinder, Rob was able to score a date with a lovely young lady named Yael. Now, when Rob got home, he seemed very interested in this young lady. The only issue, and maybe this is where we have a little bit of a difference from what we heard earlier, was that it was just Yael who had only ordered one drink. By the sounds of it, Rob had had a few. Would a relationship with Rob's unusual love of booze and Yael's very normal and regular drinking behavior ever work? The connection must have been strong enough as it led to a second date. As the date proceeded, I thought to myself, you know what, it's never going to work out. Rob needs a drinker. But when he got home, he promptly gave me his 2 months' notice and told me he was moving out. I don't think he ever slept at the apartment again after that evening. It's as bad as it sounds, yes. I'll be honest, it was a bit heartbreaking for me, but what I can say is that I truly think that he was the happiest he's ever been and has continued to be from that day forward.
So, Yael, you did it. You took the crown of Rob's best roommate. You look flawless tonight, and thank you so much for being such an amazing partner to Boomer. When people are a match, you kind of just know, because they complement each other perfectly. Yael, you don't put up a fight when Rob wants to leave a party early, and Rob is quite happy to eat popcorn. But you two really are a perfect fit, and you make it look easy, and it's so obvious how great you are by looking around this room and seeing all of the people that are here to support and celebrate you.
Naturally, we thought we'd finish the speech with a detailed day-to-day description of our bachelor party we threw for Rob in Las Vegas.
Oh, nope. We have reached the 5-minute mark. We're very sorry. Find us later, and we'd love to elaborate.
Can everyone please raise their glasses as we'd like to toast Rob and Yael and wish them love, health, and happiness as they move forward in their life together as husband and wife. Congratulations. Cheers. Thank you.
Hello. Thank you for that lovely introduction. We will try to beat it. So I'm Ashley, this is Chelsea, and this is Jess, and we are 3/10 of Yael's bridal party. Although she had no problem at all picking one perfect husband, deciding between us ladies was a tougher task, and so she picked 3 friends to give this speech.
We first want to say a quick thank you to everyone for coming and showing their love and support for our amazing friend. We know it means the world to her to have you all here today.
We also want to thank Yael and Rob in advance for the incredibly cute children they will create and let us play with. Hopefully they will have Yael's button nose and Rob's swoosh hairdo.
So each of us share very different stories on how we know the lovely bride. To give you all a bit of context about me, as was just mentioned, Yael and I first met at Camp Timberlane, probably about 25 years ago. We were so young that I can't even remember what drew us together, but we were definitely a good fit and balanced each other's personalities. I was shy, she was outgoing. I was uncoordinated, she was athletic. I was the first to say that I did not want to participate in something, and she was the first to jump right in. You get the idea. Our friendship quickly evolved from being a summer friendship into a 24/7 one. While we didn't go to the same school or live in the same neighborhood, we spent every evening after school on the phone and rotated houses on the weekends, camping out until we had to be shipped back home on Sundays. From there, we moved out of our family homes and lived together post-university. And then we tried living independently on our own, then with boyfriends, and now with husbands. Our friendship was such a natural, instant one, in an I can't live without you kind of way. I'm so lucky to say that that has never changed.
Yael and I first met our first year at Dalhousie University, where we both ended up in the only all-girls residence at the school. Not by choice, of course. I remember having one of our first conversations in the cafeteria and having so much to talk about, something that has yet to change to this day. We shared many great memories throughout our undergrad in Halifax, and our friendship only grew stronger when I moved to Toronto after university, where we lived down the street from one another at Yonge and Eglinton. Yael took me under her wing and invited me to her and Ashley's weekly pre-drinks at their place, introducing me to all of their friends and making sure I felt welcomed in true Yael fashion. This is one of the many things I love about Yael. She's always thinking about others and making her friends a top priority. Over the past 14 years that I've known Yael, we've been through a lot together, and I always know that I can count on you to be there no matter what, which makes being one of your bridesmaids today so special to me.
So as the lovely MCs mentioned, I actually met Yael, or Yaya, as most of us affectionately call her, through an ex-boyfriend over 9 years ago. Yael was by far the only good thing to come out of that relationship. Similarly to Chelsea, from the first day Yael and I met, just shortly after I moved here from Montreal, Yael was so warm and friendly and quickly became my first friend in Toronto. Being 2 years older and much, much wiser than me, Yael introduced me to great people, great bars, her very welcoming family, and perhaps most importantly, a great life hack of bringing vodka to go in a Ziploc bag to pre-drinks. For 3 years or so, Yael, Chelsea, and I all conveniently lived one block apart from one another, so basically spent every weekend together, almost always ending our very late nights at our favorite pizza joint, Medonto's. Most nights also involved extensive photo sessions in the bathroom, leaving us with a lifetime of memories and documented embarrassment. Though we had our fair share of fun, Yael proved to be a support to me through good times and bad. She was, and still is, one of the kindest and most caring people I have ever known. So it was only natural for our friendship to go from new friends to best friends over time. And I'm beyond thrilled to now stand by her side as she goes from fiancé to wifey today.
Now, over the years, each of us have had the chance to witness Yael's dating life and past boyfriends, some better than others.
Yael always described her dream guy as being into sports, or better yet, being very into sports, being family-oriented, being into food and fitness, being attentive, smart, and caring, and getting along well with her friends and family.
Unfortunately, no one ever even came close to winning her over until she met Rob, and he more than exceeded any expectations she had.
As we've now heard about 4 times this evening, Yael and Rob knew each other from high school at Northern. However, it was one of Yael's bridesmaids, Lindsay, who had the great idea to set them up. Oddly enough, she never got the chance to, seeing as how Yael and Rob matched on Tinder, and thankfully both swept right.
Rob then swept again, this time sweeping Yael right off her feet on a magical first date at the keg. According to Rob, Yael won him over with a beautiful muffin hat that she was wearing. It's all about first impressions.
Now, if you look the name Rob up online, after the first few Urban Dictionary definitions that say he's a fat man who has onion breath and will sit on your food, or that he's the best kisser and a total ladies' man, you get a definition that really resonated with us, that Rob is sweet, caring, and truly amazing. He's the type of guy you underestimate at first, but then you realize was the best thing that ever happened to you. Rob is a life changer.
And according to Urban Dictionary, Yael is the hottest woman you will ever meet. Yeah, sounds like a pretty perfect match to us.
But in all seriousness, Yael and Rob are a great couple together. Whether they're at home cheering for various sports teams, fun fact, they are Toronto's biggest sports fans, or venturing to Niagara-on-the-Lake, one of their favorite destinations, or just hanging out with family and friends.
They also mesh really, really well together and truly balance each other out. For example, they both love peanut butter. Yael makes chicken nuggets, and Rob eats chicken nuggets. Yael spends time styling her hair, and Rob spends time styling his hair.
But actually being serious, Rob and Yael bring out the best sides of each other. I know Rob makes Yael feel safe, secure, loved, and treats her like the popcorn princess that she is. And I know that in return, she loves, appreciates, and values every part of him, and is grateful for their strong and unwavering relationship.
We've all been lucky enough to see their relationship grow over the years and can confidently say they're truly a great couple. So on behalf of all of the bridesmaids, we just want to leave you with a few final words.
To Rob, the groom and cookie monster. Earlier in your marriage, you will find it difficult to get the last word in any discussion. With time, though, you will learn how to always get the last two words in every discussion. Just make sure those words are yes, dear.
And to our bride, Yael, marriage is amazing, but it's hard work. It takes patience, understanding, and accepting that you may not always be right. Make sure you're always laughing together and never take yourself too seriously. Remember today and how you feel right now in this moment, surrounded by your friends, family, and the man who has chosen you to be his forever.
So we ask you all to please raise a glass to our amazing, kind, compassionate, and radiant bride and best friend, Yael, along with her charming, wine-loving, considerate, and stylish new husband, Rob.
As we congratulate them on tying the knot and wish them everlasting love, an endless friendship, all the laughs, the tears, and the smiles.
And maybe even a Stanley Cup for the Leafs this year.
To
Yael and Rob, we love you guys. Mazel tov, l'chaim, and congratulations.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and for you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue, clouds of white, bright, blessed days, and dark, sacred nights. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of a rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I know you. I hear babies cry, and I watch them grow. They know much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Ladies and gentlemen, don't be shy. If you want to come down and dance on the dance floor, we welcome you. Don't be shy.
Can you hear me, Austin? Cool. I'd like to welcome you all here today to help celebrate the marriage of my daughter Yael and our new son, Rob. We appreciate having each one of you here today, but I'd especially like to mention those family members that traveled long distances. My sister Sari from San Diego to celebrate with us today and hopefully be here for her next grandchild's birth. Advance congratulations to my niece and nephew, Tasha and Colin. My brother-in-law, Gary, and his fiancée, Alana, from Calgary. Wonderful to have you with us today. My brother-in-law, Ken, from Detroit, who has squeezed us in between announcing Red Wings games. Thanks so much for being here with us. We're sending our prayers to my sister-in-law, Rebecca, who's currently caring for her mom at her special time of need. We will miss not having her here with us tonight. And of course, we're thankful to have our daughter, Haley, and grandson, Riley, newly from Victoria, BC. Our grandson, Austin, is experiencing first-year study commitments at university, so he and his dad, Rick, are unfortunately not able to be with us, but it means a lot to have all of you here with us today. Yael is thankful, and we all feel blessed to have her papa, Bernie Stamen, here to celebrate with us as well. To our parents and grandparents who are no longer with us, please know that we miss your presence and know that you're looking down and sending hugs and kisses. Rob joined our family for dinner about 3 months after he and Yael started dating. He had already become a special person in her heart, and we were so excited to welcome him into our hearts as well. It only took minutes to know that she had found a very exceptional young man. John and I warmed to him immediately, and after several family dinners, John said to Yael, "If you don't marry this guy, I'm going to divorce your mom and I'm going to marry him." Rob's manner is reserved and quiet, and yet warmth radiates from him. He reminds me a lot of Yael's grandma Shirley, and maybe she had something to do with sending him Yael's way. I want to thank Kathy, Rob's mom, for parenting such an extraordinary son, and I know that he will make Yael happy for the rest of her life. We love you, Rob. And now for my daughter, Yael. First, the obvious. You are absolutely exquisite today. Your gown, hair, and makeup, although all beautiful, highlight your inner glow of happiness that shines from your face. I know the beauty you share with the world on the outside is echoed by the beauty of your personality inside. I've been so fortunate to work with my children as adults, an experience that most parents never have the opportunity to enjoy. Watching Yael grow and develop as a young businesswoman, take charge of her responsibilities, and lead in her role at Colonel's has been my pleasure. May you continue to grow and develop all your adult years with strength, commitment, and drive. I take no credit for the planning of this beautiful wedding, other than to be there for Yael each day, in and day out, listening to all the discussions and decisions, large and small, that she and Rob made together to create their perfect wedding. Yael, your organizational skills were certainly at the forefront with the lists and more lists of all items that go into planning such a day. I won't forget the day after the kids got engaged last October. A phone call from Yael asking me for my guest list, and she explained it hadn't even been 24 hours. They'd been researching venues, and as she explained, prior to shortlisting the venues, they needed to know how many guests they were going to have. So she didn't waste any time looking at venues that would be too small. Each detail was researched, discussed between them both, and decided upon methodically as one after another they fell into place. This is their vision, and it is beautiful. To all Yael and Rob's friends here tonight, you are a testament to their ability to make friends and be important in their lives. Yael walks through life with her friendships, some that go back to grade school, certainly to camp, and through high school, university, and beyond. Yael is with her friends at all their important life events, both happy and sometimes sad. But together, you will all support each other as you go down the life journey together. Know that you are all very special to both Rob and Yael. Yael, you've been fortunate to have such wonderful step-parents in John and Cindy. They've been part of your life since you were just a toddler, and I know that they take special pride in being here today to watch you and Rob take that next step in life. They love you very much. And Liz, how do I thank you? I know Yael and Rob have already done so for helping with all your organizational skills and that wonderful rehearsal dinner at your home, lending your expert advice whenever Yael asks. So thanks. To Scott, thank you for being the special dad. To Yael, and now Rob, and for being there for me every step of the way, even though our relationship is somewhat unconventional. May all the love you have poured into your children come back to you as our family continues to grow. We are lucky and grateful to also have a soon-to-be daughter in our life when Ellie and Lauren join their lives together next June. Can't wait. Yael and Rob, I've probably talked longer than the allotted time and could go on and on. I want to wish you both all life has to offer. Marriage is tough, regardless of how in love you are. It's about listening to each other and compromising on many things, laughing a lot, and knowing that you are your favorite best friend to each other, and going through life together is with gratitude and happiness that you have found each other. I'm so excited to be part of your life together. I love you both to bits. Thank you. I have to wash your hanky.
Oh, it's okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Scott, Yael's dad, or Scotty. I'm going to be very brief. Dad man. I'm also Uber Scooter. I've rescued my daughter and her friends many, many times over the years. Not recently, because they're now more mature, but they used to go out in the dead of winter in short skirts and like in December, January, February with no overcoats, because that wasn't cool. And I would rescue them at 3 o'clock in the morning when they couldn't find a taxi. So that was always a lot of fun for me, because I'm really the non-drinker, so I was always available. Most of everything has been already said about Rob and Yael. Rob, I've grown to love you. You're a wonderful young man. I think you could take this all the way to 100, and because you're good, solid stock, and I admire that in you. And to my daughter Yael, She is a wonderful, wonderful soul, strong-willed, sometimes stubborn, but I remember at what crisis point in my life she rescued me. For a few hours, she sat with me as I was quite at a tender moment, and I'll never forget that, how much that meant to me. Harry Chapin wrote a song, Cats in the Cradle, and some of you may know it, and how fast the ride is. And just yesterday she was being born, and just yesterday she had a red dot on her forehead, and she had that for a lot of days, and then it migrated to her cheek, and she grew into, you know, a fresh young 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old, and then she grew into a beautiful teenager, and then, you know, I taught her how to drive, and it's so fast, and you know, it makes me wonder where all the time went. You're a wonderful, wonderful person, and I thank you for that. While I'm here, I want to say hi to one of our their siblings. I have 4 children, that is missing, and that's AJ. And I love you, AJ. And I love you, Ellie, and Lauren, and my dear Rebecca. I love you. I want to thank Penny for raising our daughter, for John for being an amazing stepdad, and for Cindy being an amazing stepmother. You've always been dear to me, and you will always be dear to me, and I thank you. And in adulthood, for 14 years, Elizabeth, my love, and a wonderful guide to Yael in womanhood. So I thank you. Dad, it's great. My father's 92. It's great to have you here. My dad sort of came back from close to being finished about a year ago. Around the time that Yael and Rob, who go over to visit with my dad frequently, and they told him they were getting married, and he said, when? And they said, in November next year. He said, oh, I won't make it. But he's here. Have fun tonight, everyone.
Oh, I know. That's what fell. Now, good news, Robert. I brought the speech your dad read at my wedding, our wedding, in 1978. So if you lose yours, all you have to do is change some names and dates, and there you go. That's what a good mother does. Woo! Okay. All right, here we go. Sit down, Robert. All right, on a serious note, the only regret that I have tonight, this is when I get to cry, is that your father isn't here with us. But the good news is that this is not a day for regrets. This is a day for happiness and for looking forward to your future. Before I attempt to embarrass Robert thoroughly, as only I can do, I want to welcome my new daughter, Yael, into the Bunting family. We're not as big as yours, so I'm sorry, but thank you. I'm so glad that my brother-in-law and sister-in-law and my sister-in-law and brother-in-law are here with us, and my 2 nephews. As many of you all know, that marriage is a balancing act between 2 people's attributes, and from what I can see, the balance between Yael and Robert is very sound. After living with Robert for 33 years, Yael, I know that he needs to be challenged. He can be very stubborn. That's a family trait from his dad's side. Now let's go back to the beginning. because there's so many of you kids I know from way back when. Robert, going right back to the beginning, we spent your first Thanksgiving together at North York General. And I was sure that I was going to have a girl and my sister-in-law was going to have a boy. Well, I was wrong. I bet my father-in-law $10, and $10 then is at least $25 now. Anyway, after Big Bill died, when my husband was cleaning up his condo, he found the $10 bill that I had autographed way back in 1984, which was a lovely gesture that he kept it. Robert, your first night home was a nightmare. You cried all night long. He did. Honest to God, he cried all night. So the next morning, the first stop was Shoppers for a pacifier. Robert, you were a very challenging baby, a poster boy for colic. To get His Highness to take a nap during the day, I had to drive around Lawrence Park, up and down Meldon Hall, round and round and round. He was not a good little napper. For Robert's first 20 months of life, we used to spend our days together, every day, Robert and me. So I enrolled him in so many programs, Gymboree, library classes, YMCA Mom and Me programs. 4 days a week, we spent our mornings expanding our horizons until I decided at that point I did not want you to be an only child, as I was. So fortunately, 20 months later, I had my second, and your little sister, Melissa, was born. Now we're going to turn to school. Robert, your academic career began at age 3 at Blythewood Nursery School. 2 mornings a week, I drove the carpool. I drove wherever you are, Jake Sheehan, Ian Patello, and Robert. And that was good times. The Blythewood Hill, I had to stop many times because of their incessant screams. Next, we moved to junior kindergarten at Blythewood. Our first parents' night, your father and I were so thrilled to see that dear Mrs. Berger, the great JK teacher, was an art specialist. So she had chosen one piece of art to show as an example of progress in JK. Solon looked at me, knowing your artistic talent and your style. We were so proud of our little Picasso. Sorry, Scott, but he was an artist way back when. His artistic talent was from his dad's side. Tonight, this room is full of Blythewood Bulldogs. Yeah! Now, sports were very, very important at Blythewood, as the music program. But the sport teams were so important for all your development. Baseball for the boys was the #1 sport. And you guys were the city champions, grade 5 and 6. Robert was our leadoff hitter, getting on base every time. Yeah. Unfortunately, though, you guys could not do well in soccer. You never made it to the city. You never made it to the championships. Only the girls, the Bulldogs, made it and won the city. Melissa, you were one of the star players. Moving on. Now, in addition to in Lawrence Park, the athletic program, LPAA was an important part of the children's development. So in September to October, you guys used to play soccer, good old soccer at Cheltenham and Wallace Park. After that, we moved to hockey. So I don't know how many nights we stood freezing at Otter Creek and Hodson. Unfortunately, Robert wasn't a superstar as many of you North Toronto boys were. So he only played 1 year on Jake Sheehan's dad's team in North Toronto. Sorry, Robert, but that's the truth. Oh, sorry. Finally, they moved in the spring, we went to T-ball and baseball. And I know, Robert, that's one of your first passions, and you were so good at that. Sorry, I've lost, hang on. So sorry. Okay, once school was out for the summer, Robert was really good at day camp. He never wanted to go away to sleepaway camp, but he loved day camp. We did Granite Club, Fun in the Sun, badminton camps, baseball camps, golf camps, Collins Strait Smart Camp. He wanted to stay home with his family. Fortunately, fortunately, in all your athletic career, the greatest achievement that you ever had was when you scored your first hole-in-one with Reed Tymington at Lambton Golf Club. Woo! Being a golfer, that was a great moment in our family. Also, fortunately for your athletic career, you never ended up in Sunnybrook. You never got hurt, like somebody else in the family who was on speed dial in the fracture clinic. After you graduated from Western, you returned to Toronto to begin your business career at Lafarge, and I'm pleased to meet some of your co-workers tonight. It was a wonderful thing that you moved home to live with me, and I was always happy to have you in the kitchen as a testament to your cooking, even though you did lose a little too much garlic. Robert has another bunting trait, and you've already heard about it tonight, cleaning. Robert loved to clean, vacuum, and ironing. His favorite gift I think I ever gave him was his first Miele vacuum when he moved out on his own. True story, true story. Another thing that Robert is known, he's a very fussy dresser. His style is so Toronto. I could never attempt to buy him any clothes because they would just be going right back to wherever they came from. He is a little fussy. So Robert, in conclusion, I hope I have totally embarrassed you tonight, but you've been such a wonderful son. Now I can cry. Now, I only hope that you will be as good a husband as you have a son. And Neil, Lucky, I am so glad that you've joined our family. You're a delightful girl. I'm so sorry that we're in Waterloo. We don't see a lot of you, which is unfortunate. But hopefully in the future, we will see more of you. Tonight is so wonderful to see so many of your old friends from your childhood, because that shows that loyalty that you have for them is so strong. Thank you.
Who's having a good time tonight? So here we are. We're at the point that everybody's been waiting for. But we were first asked to toast the bride and groom. And since I'm sure you guys are tired of listening to us talk and looking at Ian's ugly mug, we thought we'd be brief and toast the happy couple with a limerick.
A limerick, my favorite. That's right, Sean. And let me just say, it's a real doozy of a limerick. Okay, here goes. We once had a buddy named Bunce, whose ex-girlfriends were all...
No. That was not the limerick we agreed to. That was not the limerick at all. Sorry. My friend must have messed up his notes. Truly, from the bottom of our hearts, and our lovely wives, Carmel and Simone, we're so honored that you asked us to do this role tonight and be part of this amazing day. So the real toast. There once was a girl named Yael, swiped right on Rob and soon fell.
His charm had her floored, but it's clearly Bunting who scored.
So raise a glass to true love and wish them well.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. and Mrs. Bunting!
For those of you who know me, you know that I'm not a woman of few words. However, in the interest of keeping your attention and maximizing our party time, I'm going to try to keep this brief. I'd also like to apologize / warn you in advance that it's basically going to be a repeat of a lot of things you've already heard throughout the night. I guess that's the downside of going last. First things first, on behalf of the two of us, I would like to thank all of you for being here with us tonight. This is the this is the most special day of our lives, and it wouldn't be the same if not shared with our dearest family and friends. So to those of you who came from around the corner, and those who came from outside the GTA, Detroit, San Diego, Calgary, Vancouver, and Victoria, a huge, huge thank you. We'd also like to include a special, special shout out to you. You've already heard about my 92-year-old grandpa, Papa Bernie, who we are so delighted to have here with us today. Finally, I want to, well, not finally, but I want to thank the awesome staff here at Berkeley Church. You guys have been wonderful so far tonight, and I know you'll keep it going. To our venue coordinator, Kathy, you were amazing all the way along. You've delivered. And to our wedding planner, Tanya, we honestly couldn't get through the last month, never mind today, without you, so thank you to you as well.
Okay. Can you hear me? No. Can you hear me? Okay. Thank you. Okay. You done? Good. Okay. On behalf of my wife and I, we also want to take a moment to think of and recognize some of the most influential people who graced our lives but are unfortunately not here. So we have many grandparents and my dad who are here in spirit. We're all very thankful for their contributions in our lives and made us who we are, and we're here today because of them.
A wise man once said, "True friendship isn't who you've known the longest, it's who's walked into your life and said, 'I'm here for you,' and meant it." This is so very true for all of the amazing women who are part of my bridal party. You all received what I'll call love notes from me yesterday, so I'm going to keep this short, but I wanted to publicly thank all of you for not only your contributions to this wedding and for how beautiful you all look tonight and how beautiful you looked walking down the aisle, but for being my friends and family every day and for always having my back. I'm so very lucky to have such a strong, successful, and beautiful group of girls in my life and by my side. You lift me up when I am down, and there is nobody that I laugh harder with or have more fun with. Thank you for being the women of my dreams, and thank you so much for standing by my side today and always.
Okay, so I too would like to thank the bridesmaids for being so supportive to Yael, to our wedding, and especially for bringing her home in one piece from Montreal. So thank you, girls. Very much appreciate it. So now we move on to the other side. It's a big dip. So we'd also like to thank our groomsmen, of course, who today had the easiest role in the wedding, just walking down the aisle beside all those gorgeous women. Okay, calm down, Ian. We already heard it once. Now, groomsmen, you're all kind of over here. Not only have you all been so enthusiastic and supportive for the past 13 months, which we're very, very thankful for, we also want to highlight and thank you for being so obedient in the last 13 days when stuff was hitting the fan and we were rolling out details. So thank you very much, guys. So, you can't clap for yourself. Right, you're not. Oops. Cut. So today will live on in our memories. It is so special to have all of you by our sides for it. I personally am so thankful because I've gotten to know all of you at different points in my life. In some shape or way or form, you guys have all helped to shape who I am today. And today is not any different. All of you by our sides. It's incredible support and the influence you guys have. So we just want to make sure you guys had an easy roll today, but in life, thank you for the actual hard work. Yeah, good. Time. Okay, Scott and Dave. My two co-best men. So I just want to thank you both for helping plan everything since the engagement. It's been a long 13 months. Your individual offers to help at all points throughout the engagement, very much appreciated. So for everyone's kind of interest, why there are two best men, it goes back to the day after we got engaged. I woke up to Yael immediately asking me, who's going to be your best man?
Common theme.
Yeah, a lot of planning. But that question really floored me. I couldn't decide. I thought of the two of you immediately, and that's what we decided immediately. It had to be you guys, and we wouldn't have it any other way. It also is a cheap thrill for us and a good source of entertainment. Listening to you guys nonstop try to come up with competitions about... No, we're going to do a dance-off later, and that's a decider. So stay tuned, everyone else. But yeah, all of you guys, it's been very, very thankful. My bride especially, for living with the two of you at different points. She's very, very grateful for all the prep work. You guys trained me to be the clean one. Someone had to be.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
So thank you especially. Two more pretty awesome guys that we have to thank. It's our two MCs, and I get two because 30 years, 20 years? 23, who's counting? So we're talking about Sean and Ian. So it was at a Blythe Christmas party. We stay pretty tight. We asked you two to MC, and you guys, without any reservation, said yes. And it's been absolutely amazing, so don't drop the ball now.
And thank you, Sean, for keeping Ian in line tonight.
Or
trying to reel him in there. That limerick was a good catch. Growing up, I was lucky enough, yes, lucky, to have divorced parents. This meant 2 homes, 2 dads, 2 moms, and lots of presents. I would like to take a brief moment to thank my stepdad, John, stepmom, Cindy, and my dad's partner, Liz, for their love and support over the years. Thank you to John for fostering my love of sports throughout my life and for giving me countless amounts of Leafs and Jays tickets.
Thanks, John.
Cindy, the reading you did for us today was beautiful, and you did a lovely job, so thank you. And Liz, the rehearsal dinner you threw for us last night was amazing, beyond our expectations, and that's all thanks to you. Each of you has contributed to the woman I am today, and I love you all very much. To my parents, I don't know where to begin with the two of you. When I first sat down to write this speech, my section for you two ended up being longer than I had allotted for my entire speech. So please forgive me that the rewrite is much shorter, but still sweet. You are both the best role models a girl could ask for, and I'm beyond blessed to have you as my parents. Mom, thank you for teaching me all of the important things in life. From a young age, you instilled in me important lessons like the value of $1 and how if you work hard, you will succeed. But most importantly, you've taught me how to love. Because no matter what, you are always there for me, and I know I can always lean on you for advice, support, love, and hugs. Dad, or as I affectionately call you, Dad Man. You have also taught me many life lessons. The three that stand out the most are never hit the driver, all men are pigs, even him, maybe not Rob, and you don't get what you deserve, you get what you negotiate. In addition to these life nuggets, I know that I can always count on you, and that means the world to me. Finally, I'd like to thank both of you for helping make tonight happen. This beautiful wedding wouldn't have existed without you and your generosity, and for that, Rob and I are forever grateful.
Okay. So Scott and Liz, I also must echo exactly what my wife said. We are so thankful and so supportive for helping make tonight happen, as well as last night's amazing party. But I guess I can't really say I'm surprised. You guys are both so generous and so welcoming. Even from the first time we met in your house, we were on a hugging basis, which kind of did lead to our first awkward Rob and Dad Man moment. But well, the second was when I asked to marry Yael and you were on the highway. Sorry. But I guess life is full of fun surprises. And since then, you've really continued, the both of you, to be so supportive. I'm forever thankful for the words you gave me that day on the phone call. And thank you for really, the two of you, making me feel so welcome when we're together and so full when I'm leaving dinner. Okay. So, Penny and John. With you two, I wasn't really sure where to begin. So to start, I just want to thank you both for being so generous and making tonight as amazing as it is. It would not be this magical without everything you guys have contributed, and we are so appreciative. And I promise to return the favor by washing about 50 or so years worth of high holiday dinner dishes. So you got me there. So John, I didn't know we were going to get married, but okay. Well, he wanted to propose. That was bad. I missed the mark. So John, we're trying. Okay. So I've been actually really excited for this day to come. The reason being so that now I can always say to my wife that I'm only doing my husband duty to go out with you for oysters. So we're going to start doing that more often. I know we talk, but it's happening. Penny, keep eye contact here. I'm going to make you cry. Thank you from my first step into the home, making me so welcome around your big family. I knew from the start I could always count on you to make sure John poured me that vodka, although I don't have a drinking problem, all you guys. Or that I'd always have one of the best seats at the dinner table, which was always beside you. You truly are the most genuine person I have ever met, a quality that is endowed in Yael, and I really know how much the two of you care about Yael and I, and it means the world to us. So thank you. With that being said, Yael comes from a very big family, and we just want to thank all parents and family members. You're all in the room. We'd be here forever, trying to thank everyone for everything you guys have done and how special you make us feel. But thank you for raising this amazing woman. Okay. Kath. Mummy. Mom, boss, roommate, Catherine. These are all the names I've ever called you, and hopefully you're now paying attention now that I said them all. I just want to make sure that you hear me say this today. Thank you so much for showing me what it means for a family to have an amazing and strong mom as the centerpiece. By being this in my life, I've been able to see these same qualities in my wife, Yael. And this has made me know how special she is, not only for me, but also for our future family. You have been the most important and influential person in my life. I love you so much, and I'm so thankful for everything you have done to get me here today. Also, thank you for helping make tonight happen. You've been very, very generous as well, and we here together are so grateful for your support right from the engagement up until and including tonight. Thanks, Mom.
I would also like to take a moment to thank my new family, the Bunting Sherpins, and my new mother-in-law, Catherine. You are all so welcoming every time Rob and I come to visit you in Waterloo. You make our time there warm and fun, and there is never a dull moment. Catherine, I'd like to personally thank you for helping us with this wedding, as we wouldn't be here if it weren't for you as well and your lovely generosity. However, I'd like to most importantly thank you for raising such an incredible young man that today I get to call my husband. He is the light of my life, and I will therefore be forever grateful to you, Catherine. Okay, babe. I've arrived at the portion of my speech that is about you. Hopefully, I'll make it through this without crying. You are my Beshert, or as you so cutely pronounce it, Beshert. For those in the room that don't speak Yiddish, Beshert means meant to be or destiny. I feel this way not only because you fill my heart, but also quite literally because of the events that took place that got us together. Yes, we met in high school. Yes, we reconnected on Tinder. But in the middle of all of this, our good friend and bridesmaid, Lindsay Stewart, was planning on setting us up anyway. So I'd like to think that one way or another, we would have found each other, and therefore we are Beshert. Life is truly better with you in it. I love trying new things with you, such as biking, golfing, and zip lining. I love discovering new restaurants in TO, especially tapas spots where we can share a ton of dishes together. And of course, our favorite place to be is Niagara-on-the-Lake, where I have so much fun discovering new wineries and hidden restaurant gems with you by my side. These date nights and adventures are amazing. However, I have to admit that even walking down the street is better with you by my side. There is something about holding hands and heading in the same direction that just fills my heart. And sometimes I just glance over at you on one of our strolls and I think how lucky I am. I want to take this moment to thank you for all of the little things you do, as life is about these everyday moments. Thank you for pouring my glass of water every night before bed, and for making my tea in the mornings. Thank you for cleaning up our dishes after dinner, and for cleaning up my dishes after snacks. Thank you for always scooping up my wet laundry that doesn't go in the dryer and hanging it on the drying rack for me. Thank you for getting me flowers and orchid plants on a regular basis just because. And thank you for taking all the boxes and recycling out to the loading dock after I've created a large pile at the front door. For these little things and all the other little, medium, and big things that you do to make my life and our lives better, I love you and thank you. To quote one of my favorite movies, as Harry said to Sally, when you realize you want to spend the rest of your life with someone, you want the rest of your life to start as soon as possible. So baby, thank you for getting down on one knee and asking me to marry you. I am so happy that the rest of our lives begins today. I'd like to finish with a little adaptation of Dr. Seuss. I would marry you in a boat and with a goat. I would marry you in the rain and in the dark and on a train. And in a car and in a tree, you are so good to me. So I will love you in a box, and I will love you, you're a fox. And I will love you in our house, even if it has a mouse. And I will love you here or there. I promise to love you anywhere. I cannot wait to go to bed next to you tonight as your wife. Wake up next to you tomorrow morning as your wife, and spend the rest of our damn lives as your wife. I love you.
Okay. Well, that's a tough act to follow. Thanks. Okay. I think we need to start with a very quick interactive survey. How stunning is my wife? I cannot get over it. Yep. Thanks, Ian.
And he's done.
No. So I have to give credit where it's due. The hashtag bunting scored, which could be a little self-deprecating for me to endorse, is actually quite the understatement about tonight. I cannot count the blessing for how lucky I am to be able to call you my wife, Mrs. Bunting. Yep. Could you have imagined this back in high school when you first noticed me? The cool guy?
I plead
cool
the
guy?
fifth.
Okay. Okay. So, now many of you know Yael. Some probably almost as well as I do, but for many of you who don't, let's get a few things straight right now. Okay? She makes the best chicken nuggets, which are low-cal. Okay? She gives the best head scratches as well. Big fact, she plans the most amazing wedding. Every detail that is here tonight, and every amazing part that that happened behind the scenes that we were all part of, sorry, Sean and Ian, it was all because of her. So I am so thankful. Absolutely amazing. A lot of hard work. Here's a big one. She watches sports. And by this, I mean very intensely. For me, it means I get to watch every Leaf, Raptor, and Jay game, and we are still working on that soccer thing. A lot of time to go, right?
Right.
Most importantly, though, she's the most amazing, supportive, beautiful, kind, and generous person in this room. Flat. This is basically why I knew I had to marry you from a very, very early stage, and that's why you're my best match. It's a Tinder joke.
Tinder joke.
Didn't hit the mark. Come on. So contrary to some of the hearsay we have been subjected to tonight regarding our first date, I'm pretty sure I knew it was amazing and how amazing life would be with you in it. You cannot deny how even though we both may have been a little confused after that first date, after a few weeks, we knew exactly what was going on, and we were on the same wavelength, and we've never looked back. What was amazing from an early point was that we even would talk about how amazing our life was always going to be together, and tonight is truly another example of how amazing it is and how we were so right. So, making memories is so easy with you. Everything is so natural. We've created our own special things. We love to go, so we like on our weekends, our little coffee and tea. We like our cheat meals, which are coming back tomorrow and becoming more regular. We always look forward to going away, so we just can't get enough of it. But maybe most importantly, and what truly makes our relationship so special, is that we cherish all of our time together. And to this point, nothing is easier in the world than coming home from work to the big welcome home I always get as soon as I come in the door. And that's not going to stop now that we're married.
Never.
Witnesses. So it's been 1,143 days since our first date. Each of these days, I'm not Rain Man, I did the math. So each of these days, I've been spending most of the time thinking about you. In my mind, the image is always your contagious smile, your inquisitive nature, all of your loving nature, and how really what gets me the most is how all you want to do is spend time together. And that's exactly where I am. This makes me not only the happiest person in the world, but also the luckiest. Hence again, the hashtag Bunting scored. In summary, I cannot tell you for the life of me how to express the words I feel for you, and how excited I am to share our life together and how much I love you. But every day going forward, as my witnesses here, I will do everything I can to make sure you at least feel it. I love you today, tomorrow, and forever, Mrs. Bunting.
she'll put